Hello YouTube. Originally we were going to be driving down to Dallas today, but woke up and Interstate 55 as well as 44 is closed due to flooding, so as a result we're just going to wait until tomorrow. In fact, 55 has already reopened this afternoon. It looks like the river crest is going down, but again, we got another 6 inches of rain over the last 2 days, so let's see what happens there. So I got a little bit of time to do a video here real quick, and today in Elite Dangerous, there was an announcement from Sandro Sammarco and this topic about deliberately ramming on the forums, in which he's come out and really give the first indications of what they're looking at in terms of crime and punishment. Now, still, he has this looking into the future. We don't know if when we'll get to add a karma system, which, as I've said in previous videos, statements like this at this point in development are bullshit. We need to know when, not if. When. When is this going to come? 2.4, 3.0? You know, those are about the only two acceptable answers at this point. At any rate, they were talking about specifically ramming here, and what happens is a commander will take an unshielded Sidewinder and, say, ram a cutter that's going a little bit too fast through the mail slot, and get killed by the cutter. The cutter gets a bounty, the station opens up on cutter, and gives them a nice 30-40 million credit rebuy. And ways of possibly mitigating that, and went in to talk about how a karma system would work and how they want to kind of add an effective, basically, punishment system into the game for bad behavior. And overall, I have to say that, given what they've said, if this were the system that were to be implemented, overall, I would be very supportive of it. I'm not going to say it's perfect. Nobody would ever say it would be perfect, because different people are going to have different wants, but a serious step in the right direction. And the fact that they're actually bringing this up and maybe, just maybe, collecting a little bit of community feedback and ideas before going ahead and implementing a major shift in gameplay mechanics and things like that, one could only hope. I'm not holding out a lot of positivity here that that's actually what's happening, but... And goes on to talk about, you know, salt farmers and stuff. At any rate, the system would be automated using mechanically verifiable events. He talked about the idea of a player-driven rep system, but hard to prevent undesirable manipulation. I could see player-driven rep for a factor in terms of multi-crew placement. Give me the ability after a multi-crew session to go through and rate players. You know, were they there and doing a good job, or were they just AFK the entire time? Give me an opportunity to give them like a 1 through 5 star rating, with 1 being low, 5 being good. And then have a way for me to set up in the matchmaking system of, you know, give me players who are only rated 4 stars and higher. That would be an acceptable example of player-driven rep. If it was just positive, negative, like Reddit here, it wouldn't work out so well. And again, he's like not convinced robustness of a system, still very blunt, potentially open up to manipulation even with a 100 meter per second rule. But again, he's just basically saying that no, nothing is going to be completely infallible here. Then he gave some spitball ideas of how the karma system might work in practice. You know, if you're attacking a wanted ship, no matter how overpowered, and he discussed how they would judge this as based on your hull type versus the other guy, your weapons, your engineering status, your pilot rating, whether you're deadly, elite, what have you, your combat rank versus their combat rank. And this would only apply, from what I could take, to PvP ships. If you're killing NPCs that are mostly harmless and you're deadly with a fully engineered cutter or corvette, no impact on your karma status. Attacking a clean ship with a massively overpowered ship would get you minor bad karma. I guess attacking a clean ship with an equal tier or even an under-tiered ship would not have any impact on your karma. So let's say you're in a Viper Mark IV and you're attacking a player Python or something like that. You probably would not get any bad karma, even if you were elite and they were, say, a master rank or something like that. Repeatedly attacking clean ships that you are massively overpowered would net you major bad karma. I don't know if this means the more you do it, the more bad karma piles onto it, and it like increases exponentially, or the fact if you do it over and over again, it just eventually adds up. I don't know if it would be additive or an exponential increase. Not too clear about that. Stealing cargo from a clean ship, you would be fine. Karma-wise, you'd still have the in-game crime aspects, criminal bounties and fines and stuff like that. Being involved in an occasional starpoint collision would gain you minor bad karma. Okay, being repeatedly involved would net you major bad karma. Again, I don't know if that is increasing every time you do it, or within a period of time, or just the fact that you would just continue to build up and it would be additive. Occasionally disconnecting ungracefully in danger would be fine. Repeatedly disconnecting ungracefully in danger would net you major bad karma. Again, could go into a little bit more detail, I guess, as they get closer to doing something specific. Attacking starport as crew would get you major bad karma. So far, an agreement there. And then they talked about, the fact that no system's going to be perfect. Different people are going to have different ideas on what they would like to see, of course. But punitive measures would increase based on trends over time, which would become fairly accurate indicators of intent. I agree with that statement. And generally want to minimize out-of-game intervention. However, that does not mean that punitive measures would be toothless. We could make life very challenging in ways we currently do not have employed for repeat offenders. Again, just discussion, although we have very positive vibe. There's currently no ETA or guarantee on such a system's arrival. Again, this is a bullshit statement at this point in time. So they are looking at increasing the logout timer from 15 to 30 or 60 seconds. For those of you who do not know this, if you say you get interdicted and you go to the screen and immediately say log me out, go back to the main menu or whatever, that is not considered to be combat logging. If you wait the full 15 seconds and manage to log out before they can kill you, that's perfectly acceptable in terms of use. I know a lot of the quote PvPers, the quote trolls, gankers, griefers, whatever you want to call them, don't like this fact, but there it is. And this would work as part of your Pilots Federation rating system, and it would basically be like a Geneva Convention rules of engagement code of conduct. And the more you break these rules, the more the Pilots Federation would increasingly take a dim view of you and would translate to them withdrawing support. Basically, if you have a little bit bad reputation, you wouldn't be able to dock, say, in high security systems. If you continue to slide down that path, then you won't be able to dock at medium, and then low, and then finally only able to go to anarchy systems in order to refit. And if this also included the inability to access Jameson Memorial for those pilots who have become elite, and basically take away the ability to transform ships all around, that would be pretty good. And then they're also talking about combining this with an increase in rebuy costs associated with it as well. The lower your reputation is, the higher your rebuy costs are going to be, to the point of maybe even getting to the point where if you lose your ship and you have a very low karma, you have to pay full dollar to replace that ship, or you just lose it outright and would have to go buy a new one and start again with a Sidewinder, including all of your engineered modules that would be on that ship. That could be a very realistic discouraging. Now, quite understand the concept of how our karma system works. The point is, if we can absolutely guarantee you need the system, but the fact is we can't tell the difference between a network outage, someone disabling their network connection. You just can't 100% tell who to blame in Starfleet. Okay, so this is him talking about, you can't always distinguish the difference between a network outage or somebody killing a task and combat logging, essentially, versus just the connection goes shits and giggles. To be honest, I've had a couple of times there was one driver release with NVIDIA that whenever I would get interdicted, I would end up with a black screen and no graphic sound and stuff would continue to be going on, but no sounds, and I would have to force quit in order to solve that problem. I've also had it crash to desktop before too, so if I got dinged with a minor karma hit because of something like that, I'd say, okay, so long as there's a way to earn positive karma to negate that, fine. Besieger, that's Commander Harry Potter, in response to combat and low. Says, want to destroy your ship. We are saying that if they repeatedly pick unfair fights, we will take action against them. Why would we not take action against people who consistently log to avoid legitimate destruction? And I'm sure we could envision a system that reduced karma loss for combat logging when aggressors are also low karma commanders. So in other words, if you get interdicted by somebody like a Harry Potter and you combat log on them, you'll get a lesser of a degree of punishment than, say, if it was just me combat or you combat logging when I interdict you and I have positive karma. You know, just as an example, they're just kind of throwing out ideas and concepts of where they could go. Would like to avoid shadow banding. Repeatedly kills clean ships that are significantly weaker than them. I'd rather see removal of insurance to cover. That's what we're talking about. So when a ship is destroyed, it's gone, or you have to pay the full price to get it back. Docking privileges rescinded at all starports and outposts except for those in Anarchy jurisdiction. And game-applied Pilots Federation bounties rather than a shadow ban. So instead of having local jurisdictional bounties, they would be bounties placed on you by the Pilots Federation that would be valid anywhere in the game universe. Well, it would be a descent rather than an instant slam. There would be plenty of warnings and punitive measures that would ramp up, so this is where they're talking about it. To a 12-year-old. Okay, that's pretty good. Let me be as clear as I can. I think that perhaps tracking trends over time. So kind of more of what I've outlined. You know, it's possible that karma system would not apply to anarchies and power play lawless areas, or would be severely reduced in effect. We're always looking to differentiate secure with lawless ones. Around starports, anarchies still consider that to be tracking collisions. You are right, though, whenever possible, we want to tie it into criminality. So, at the end of the day, remember this is speculative, no ETA, no guarantees. And I have to say that at least maybe, just maybe, they're taking a little bit of feedback, and if this was the system they were going to be implementing for a karma-based system, I think most of the things here are positive. Again, we would need to see it in its final implemented form, and then we could agree or disagree or argue over where the dial probably needs to be, but hey, maybe they're starting to wake up and smell the coffee and figure out that maybe they should consult the player base with a few of these decisions, and maybe they'll go back and do this with a couple of more threads as I more fully flesh out ideas, rules, and concepts here going forward. But again, they don't know if or when they're ever going to actually implement this, so we'll see.